Hello, friends, and welcome to a new chapter of Around the World in 80 Days. I hope you like it and subscribe my channel. Let's go. Introducing Detective Fix. The whirlwind trip had begun. In a mere 4 days of traveling, Passepartout and Phileas had already left Europe. They had traveled by train to Dover and then sailed to Paris from there. From Paris, they took a train to Turin, Italy. Another train carried them through Italy to Brindisi, where they boarded a steamer called the Mongolia. The Mongolia was due to arrive at the Suez Canal on Wednesday, October 9, at exactly 11 o'clock in the morning. It was one of the fastest steamers that the Peninsular and Oriental Company owned. While the boat moved toward the Suez, 2 men walked up and down the canal. One was the British diplomat for the area. His name was Stevenson. The other was one of the detectives the Bank of England had sent around the world looking for the robber. His name was Fix. Mr. Fix was a short man with small eyes and bushy eyebrows that twitched constantly. Despite his mouse-like appearance, he was a smart detective. It was his job to watch every single passenger that landed in Suez. He was to report anyone who looked like he might be the robber. "So, Stevenson," Fix said for the 20th time, "you say that this steamer is always on time?" Mr. Stevenson sighed. "Yes, Mr. Fix, that is correct. If anything, the Mongolia sometimes gets here ahead of time." "And it comes directly from Brindisi, Italy?" the detective asked. "Again, that is correct. The ship collects the mail and then leaves at 5 o'clock on Saturday afternoon. The schedule is always the same. The Mongolia should be here at exactly 11. Stevenson said, "Have patience, Mr. Fix. Anyway, I don't see how you're going to find the man you're looking for with the description you have of him. He could be anyone. There are many gentlemen who travel here from Italy." "Ah," Fix said quickly, "but one just knows, sir, when they're in the company of a bad man. One has a scent of them, a sixth sense that combines hearing, seeing, and smelling. That's how I can tell." "Even if the man is a gentleman?" Stevenson asked. "I shall sniff the man right out, even if he is a gentleman," Fix said. It was now 10:30. The wharf was getting busy. Sailors, merchants, shipbuilders, and porters all walked by. Detective Fix looked carefully at each person who passed him. "The Mongolia still isn't here," Fix said. "The ship will be here on time," Stevenson repeated. "How long does it stop at Suez?" Fix asked. "For 4 hours, just long enough to get a new supply of coal," Stevenson answered. "And then the steamer travels directly to Bombay?" "It stops in Aden for more coal, but then it goes on to Bombay," Stevenson said. "Good," said Fix. "If the robber's on board, he'll probably get off here. He'll want to make his way to Asia, where he can be bought rather than India, which is part of the Queen's empire." "Unless he stayed in England to hide," Stevenson replied. "Not likely," Fix said. "Not likely." Stevenson went back to his office and left Fix alone on the wharf. Fix paced back and forth on the dock thinking. Soon a few sharp whistles blew. The Mongolia was here. The porters rushed onto the dock and a number of boats rowed out to meet the steamer. The Mongolia dropped her anchor in Suez at exactly 11 o'clock, just as Stevenson had said it would. Fix stood back and watched everyone. After pushing his way through the crowd, one of the passengers came up to him. It was Passepartout. "Excuse me, sir, where might I find the British passport office?" He held out a passport that needed to be stamped. The detective took the passport and asked, "Is this yours?" "No, sir," Passepartout said. "It's the monsieur's, my boss." "Who is your boss?" Fix asked. "Mr. Phileas Fogg, sir. He stayed on board." Passepartout replied. "Well, he must go see the British diplomat in person to get his passport stamped," Fix said. "It's just over there, that house on the corner." "Thank you, sir. He won't be happy about this at all." Passepartout pushed his way back through the crowds to tell Phileas that he had to visit the office himself. Fix, too, made his way to the corner house. He was curious about the gentleman who had sent his butler to get his Passepartout stamped. "It must be him," Fix thought to himself, "the robber. He doesn't want to be seen." "I have found him," Fix announced to Stevenson as he walked into the diplomat's office. "He's on board the Mongolia, just as I suspected. He's headed here to get his passport stamped. I just ran into his butler, who said that his boss refuses to leave the boat. I told the servant that the man must come in person. We've got him now. He might not come, you know," Stevenson said. "If he does, you must not stamp his passport," Fix told him. "But I have no choice if the passport is real," Stevenson said. "I want to keep this man here until I can get a warrant for his arrest," Fix said. "But I cannot—" A knock at the door stopped the diplomat mid-sentence. Passepartout and Phileas entered the room. Fix stood in the corner and watched as Phileas held out his passport. "Kind sir, would you please stamp my passport?" Phileas asked. Stevenson took it from him and looked at it closely. "You know that you don't need to get your passport stamped," Stevenson said. He was about to hand the passport back to Phileas. "I know, but I wish to prove I was here." Stevenson stamped and dated the passport. Phileas paid the fee, bowed slightly, and then left. "Well," Fix said, "he looks and acts like a perfectly honest man," Stevenson said. "But do you not think he looks just like the robber?" Fix asked. "I suppose, but it was a very general description, Fix," Stevenson said. "It's him. I know it's him," Fix said. Fix followed Phileas and Passepartout back down to the dock. Phileas went back on board the Mongolia. He wanted to make some notes about how the trip was going. Passepartout stayed on the wharf and looked around. Fix walked up to him and said, "Having a look around?" "We travel so fast that I like to see what I can," Passepartout replied. "So this is Egypt?" "Indeed it is." "In Africa?" he asked. "Yes," Fix answered. "Africa," Passepartout exclaimed. "To think I had never been farther than Paris before. That is my hometown, but we passed through there so quickly that all I got to see this time was the trip between the Northern and the Lion stations." "You in a hurry then?" Fix asked. He was trying not to ask too many questions. "I am not, but Monsieur is. He's making a tour of the world," Passepartout answered. "A tour of the world," Fix said. "Yes, and in 80 days, Passepartout said. "He says it's a bet, but between the two of us, I'm not sure about that. There must be something else going on." "Indeed," Fix added. "The monsieur is a rich man. He's carrying a large amount of new banknotes with him, and he'll doing anything to win." Indeed, Fix said again. Have you known Mr. Fogg a long time? No, I just started working for him the day we left. Passepartout said. I must be on my way. I have to buy some new shirts for the monsieur before going back on board. We're on our way to Bombay next. The facts were almost too much for Fix to handle. There was the quick departure from London and the large sum of money that Phileas Fogg carried with him. There was also the fact that Phileas needed to reach faraway countries in a hurry. Not to mention that he fit the description of the robber. He was a gentleman. Fix ran off to the diplomat's office to send a telegram to London. Fix looked at the telegram closely before he gave it to the clerk. It read, Suez to London. To Rowan Police Chef, Scotland Yard, from Detective Fix. I found the bank robber, Phileas Fogg. Send arrest warrant to Bombay. I will meet him there.